can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah.
How we doing? FT Live on a Friday on Stadium for hour number 1. Braun, Cain, Jones. Look at this crew. How we doing? We don't need no Przinsky, Kratz, Podfather, and the rest of the deal. we got Locan and all of his candy. Adam.
Ooh.
Looking good, right? Huh?
Looks great. What's your favorite?
3 kiddos right now. You know, I'm a big Fruity Pebbles guy. You know, I ate a ton of Fruity Pebbles in the minor league, so that's definitely my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Got it
Did
all
you know
back
how
there.
much of a sweet tooth he has, Adam?
I didn't, but now I see.
Love it.
Locan is famous for a couple things. I would say that what I hear the most, and by the way, Whit Merrifield is going to be our first guest in 15 minutes. He specifically told me in person, next time I'm on, it has to be with Lo. And the 2 things that I hear from just about everybody when they describe Lo is, especially if they played with him, sweet tooth, got to have some cake or cookies or something at the end of the night, right? Earned it after a game. And in game, he'll act like, oh man, my knees, my back, whatever, and then he's on second.
Oh, quickly. Oh, I told him, I was like, hey man, how you? Every time I say, how you doing, baby? You good? He'd be like, oh man, you know, I'm just out here surviving. You know, I'm just surviving. And then a dribbler or just beat out the infield hit, and I just look at him, still second pitch. I'm like, hey, I'm out here really barking. What are you talking about? I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying put. You going?
Oh,
I want your surviving. Whatever his surviving is, everyone wants that.
For sure. Hey, respect. Trick him.
Got to put an okie doke on him, you know.
It worked, and now you can talk about it because you're on the other end, right?
Yes. Enjoying a lot of desserts now. I love it.
I love it. All right, so let's charge the damn mound. Let's get to the unicorn, Shohei Ohtani. Even his injuries are unique, right? Like he leaves the game after about 4 innings and ends up with 2 hits, 2 walks, a home run. There you go, from Angels PR, removed as a pitcher. I like how you have to put that in parentheses. With cramping in his right hand and fingers. He's had problems with the middle finger on his right hand for the past month. Remember, last month he was taken out at one point with the blister and the broken nail. Despite that, he can still smash the baseball. So he tied the game earlier when he stole second base and ended up being the tying run. He gave them a little bit of insurance right here, making it 3-1 on a 2-2 pitch. That's number 40 on the season. 60 is very attainable for this dude, depending on how he does the rest of August and into September, maybe even more. And then Alden Gonzalez, who's been covering the team most days for ESPN, said Shohei Ohtani, who exited as a pitcher with cramping in his right hand, lined a 107-mile-an-hour home run. There are so many times I watch him play and end up typing sentences that don't make sense. Now, I say all of that, Lo, and they lost the game on this grand slam. Carlos Estevez, who had been perfect, 23 for 23 in save ops, did not have control and walked, I think, a couple guys. And then eventually, with the bases loaded, that is Cade Marlowe with the big grand slam in the 9th, first blown save of the year, and it moves the Angels back 4 games now. And Beyond the Halo, one of the super fan accounts, said, I feel like such a fool for putting myself through this endless pain and suffering with no payoff. You'd cut out anything else in your life that brings you this much trouble, and yet I can't. Fandom is so stupid, and so am I. So your thoughts on Shohei's amazingness, but also the poor – I'm not even going to say the poor team. Poor Angels fans. Like,
Yes.
how are you supposed to root for a situation like this when you're watching legendary greatness from one player – but your team can't get over the hump? I mean, they're 4 games back. They're not going to make the playoffs. I really feel strongly about that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know, it's been happening for a while now. I mean, we've been talking about this, and as a Angel fan, you just got to know when to let go. It's time for you guys to let go, move on. Just sit back and just enjoy the games, but don't put your heart into it. You know, I know it's hard to do, but just don't put your heart into it. So Shohei, he's been lights out. He's been doing it all season long. I continue to expect great things from him. And he's just locked in right now. When you're locked in baseball, you can be a very dangerous player for sure.
I'm going to say it, and everybody knows it. They need a new owner.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
They need new ownership.
There it is.
I'm sorry. I mean, Artie Moreno, great dude. All that. It needs a fresh start. They got all the money. They got a perfect location. The weather is beyond. I mean, both teams, 60 and 70 miles each direction, north and south, are vastly improved. You gotta do something. My son back here just chilling, looking at pictures. But yeah, it is. I mean, you're right again. Generational talent and two guys. You got the best top two players in baseball on the same team, and you can't get over the hump. And again, it's not to the other players. Esteves has been great, All-Star. I've seen him at the All-Star game. A big love, big hug. Proud of what he's been doing. The Mariners again are in the hunt, so they are very aggressive. And they're going to be aggressive going forward because they need the W's also. So it's just something's going on in Anaheim, man. Something going on in Anaheim. I don't know what it is. Again, it's always that Shohei and Mike Trout is 2 for 3 with a tank and a triple and 4 RBIs, but they lose the game. And that is such a common theme and has been for a long time now, unfortunately. And Artie just say, I'm going to sell it.
He almost did. Jonesy, he almost did. He
I know,
teased
and
everybody.
fans were
That
happy.
was the part that was
fans were
hurt.
happy.
Of course
fans
they were.
Okay, some excitement going on in this organization. Okay, we might got a new owner, somebody spicy. Maybe, LA area, you never know who comes in. You maybe get the baseball version, the West Coast version of Stevie Cohen. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
Ballmer.
get someone real rich. Right. Yeah, like the Clippers owner. And also, when you're baseball rich, it's cooler because you don't have to deal with a salary cap. So you can really try and turn things around. And hey, Steve Cohen and the Mets showing us that it's not a Band-Aid situation. It takes time. But the problem with the Angels is for years, they kind of neglected the development system. For years, they weren't putting much into pitching. Pitching's kind of a big deal, especially starting pitching. They weren't in the market for a while for top-end starters. I also think even the Cole sweepstakes was kind of BS because they weren't offering him as much money as the Yanks. So, that's like any team saying, oh, I didn't finish in first place. Like, if you're not first, you're last on a free agent signing.
They had the guy to redo all of that. They still have the guy to redo all of that. And you can't trade him anymore.
Too late.
You get a first-round draft pick. Hey, I hope that kid, whoever in 2026 or 8 or 30 makes it to the big leagues and has a career. You could have redid all of that and then brought him back. Possibly. That's always a possibility.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. GM's a tough job. I want to do it one day and get fired.
But at this point, it's not the manager. It's not the GM. The way that the team has been run needs to turn over. And especially when your owner does say, hey, I'm going to sell the team. And then he's like, just kidding. I do think he might put them back on the market this year because I do think Shohei will leave. And then it's not as enticing. And the profits probably aren't as great when Shohei's gone, right? I mean, if Shohei leaves, as great as Trout is, how is that place going to sell?
So hear this. I did for my podcast, I did an analysis on when Shohei pitches versus when he just plays. And I did it in Baltimore. It was 10,000 fans different when he pitches.
Wow.
And because he's going to hit. But he generates that on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, again, coming to Baltimore is cheaper than going to Philly, than going to New York, than going, but he generates that on the road. So, I don't know what the Angels can eat. No, the Angels don't eat of the other players, but, I mean, you're going to lose a lot when he leaves, unfortunately. And then you telling your fans that unless you go out and sign a lot of guys, if you can cover $300 million, or because that's half of what he's going to get.
Exactly.
You got to tell your fans, hey, man, I don't know, because you could have had a lot of new guys and then bring them back, possibly. Yeah, that's possible.
And for me, if I power rank the AL West, I mean, right now, obviously the Rangers and the Astros are ahead of the pack. I actually think the Mariners are still a better team than the Angels. I like their starting pitching much better. I think the offense is probably a little tilted toward the Angels, but not much. I think the bullpens are pretty similar, and I'd rather take starting pitching down the stretch. So
They got
I
good
actually
starting
think they
pitching.
might. Yeah, they do. I
Yeah.
like if you had to guess right now, I actually put the Mariners. I think the Mariners will finish with a better record than the Angels. Probably not by much, maybe by a game or two, but I actually think they're a better team.
Same.
Fair?
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. But pitching has always been the issue with the Angels. I mean, for the longest now. But to me, that's the difference with the Mets and Angels. The Mets decided to, move forward, move on, and get rid of players and start their thing over. And the Angels decided to go for it. And I think they're going to lose in the long run. But hey, I think at the end of the day, Shohei's going to leave, and now Trout is stuck. And now, what do we do with Trout? That's the big question. What do we do with Trout?
Send him to Philly. Send him
Send him to
home.
Philly? Ooh.
Send him to Philly. Send him home, and like do it. Do it all over again. You're gonna get a chance to do it all over again. Angels fans, they're gonna miss. I mean, you missing Ohtani. You're gonna miss Trout. Trade him and do it all over again.
Agreed.
And get a lot, and get a haul, and let him go home, and him and Harper play on the DH often, and have some young kid running around the center.
I hear you.
Hey, I feel you. I like it. All right, let's move to the Cubbies, okay? They're on fire. They continue to win ball games. They won 5-3. They didn't put up a billion runs. It only took 5 for their 5th straight win. They take down the Reds again, which helps them, of course, in the National League Central, too, and makes things really interesting, Lo, this week. We got a good test for them. They're taking on the Braves. Max Fried is back for this first one. It's going to start while we're doing this show live, but the Cubbies are hot as hell. Jamison Tyone, who was one of their big pickups in the offseason, started off really slow, but then he's picked up the pace, and he put a tweet out there. Wrigley was electric this entire series. And how about the bullpen tonight coming in and slamming the door? Let's keep it going this weekend. Now, I don't think they're the most talented of teams in the National League. Bellinger's on fire, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're most talented of teams, but I do think the front office gave them a boost by saying, hey, let's try and make some noise here in a weak division. And they pick up Candelario, and he's basically been on base every time he's been up so far for them. So I give them credit there. And Lo, we do our Brew Crew territory show. Brewers better watch out now. They got 2 teams they have to worry about.
Yeah, like I said, I still think Milwaukee will win this division. But like you said, the Reds are playing great. The Cubs are playing great. They just crushed the Reds. So that was definitely a lot of fun to watch. But they playing great ball. I feel like as far as them swinging the bat, they put the ball in play a lot, and they give themselves a chance to get on base consistently. And they've been pitching well. And I think that's the biggest surprise. They've been pitching really well, putting the ball in play, playing solid defense. And that's a recipe for success for me.
I will say, Adam, I thought that the Cubs should sell potentially. Okay. I think we might have a little freeze frame here. Yeah. I was like, is that his poker face? It's way too serious.
Freeze frame.
Yeah. Freeze frame. AJ will come back in a sec.
Yeah.
But Dansby Swanson comes off the injured list. They're playing much better since that. Bellinger's been ridiculous this year. And the thing is, part of me was like, I don't think this is a World Series team. I don't think it's a playoff team. But the National League wild card has some wide openness to it because other ball clubs didn't do much. The Marlins did, and I give them credit. And I know they had a tough series just now against the Phillies, but they're a better team with the trade deadline that they put together. The Giants did literally 0. And I know they're using bullpen games or tandem starters or the whole deal like that because they've got some depth, but they're doing that for 3 out of every 5 starts. Sure, I guess. I mean, it's worked for them in a unique way. It's cute. But I do think that the Cubs, even if they don't win the division, have a feeling that they can stick around a wild card race now. And I don't blame them. I don't think that any of these teams are necessarily going to run away with a wild card. Like, same thing with Arizona. I think they were a year ahead of what they thought on their schedule, on their timetable, which is great. But that's not necessarily a team that's built to be a powerhouse right now either. They have a lot of starting pitching problems in my mind. They did a nice job with the bullpen. We're going to talk to Paul Sewald later on this show. But in your mind, do you see a National League wild card, like clear-cut picture of teams that you think are ahead of the pack?
I don't. I think all of these teams are kind of have been a surprise so far. And I mean, they're the owner, the teams are surprising themselves. I think they're playing a lot better than they thought they would. And, when you're in this situation, it's a good situation to be in because now, hey, we can go make a few moves here, add pieces there, And hey, we got an opportunity to, possibly make it to the playoffs. And then once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. You kind of go from there.
Jonesy, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Man, Wi-Fi kids, they taking all my bandwidth and all that kind of stuff around here.
They're taking up your bandwidth in multiple ways, like your Wi-Fi, your brain, your time,
everything. Oh
What you
man.
mean?
But no, man, these races they're gonna be nail biters, and that's why we kept talking about San Francisco. Obviously, they're ahead in the wild card, but they didn't make any moves. And teams that made moves, and we're still waiting for the Padres' resurgence. So Miami is still knocking at the door. They made some good moves, I think. It's going to be fun. I think these last 50 games is going to be really, really fun. And all the divisions, obviously, the Yankees. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but to get into the wild card, there's the Red Sox. What's going to happen there? It's just going to be a fun, I think, 2 months of baseball. Obviously, we all know football is coming. They're starting all these shows, and we had the Hall of Fame game last night. But hey, hold on, football. Hold on, NFL. We got some business to take care of in MLB, and give us some time. But it's going to be a fun race, and I think as baseball fans, we're all excited because there's markets that weren't in it. Again, the Mets aren't in it, but the Pirates are in it. You know what I mean? It's this year the Diamondbacks are in it. Like it's the Marlins are in it. It's the Rangers are back in it. It's great. I think that's really good for baseball.
Yeah, there's parity for sure. And props to the teams that did stuff because we saw it yesterday. Rangers did stuff. Scherzer pitched well after that first inning. Michael Lorenzo saved the bullpen for the Phillies, and Jack Flaherty was pumping heat like we talked about yesterday. We were like, oh, if he throws hard, he was throwing hard. Let's step aside. Whit Merrifield is ready to join us in a sec. And poll question is on your screen with the QR code or watchstadium.com/foul territory. Which animal do you not want to see take over your pool deck? Or I can phrase it this way too. Which animal would you not want to deal with a plague on your property, as Whit told us in the very famous story? Frogs, geese, slugs, or snakes? Very creative poll question for a Friday. Think about it. Again, you can vote at watchstadium.com/foul territory. Whit Merrifield is on fire of the Toronto Blue Jays, getting ready to go. We'll talk to Whit in a sec.
I'm all in on Tristan Casas this season.
He has changed, and I know you watch a lot of Red Sox. I mean, for me, it was one of my favorite prospects over the last few years, and I know, he didn't just totally hit the ground running, but he's really been picking up the pace lately, huh?
Yeah, they've been giving him a chance, which I think is good. Every day I would be afraid they were going to send him back down or DFA him or something.
Not DFA him.
Not DFA,
no.
But
yeah.
Well, I don't know. He has a lot of haters, and he is silencing. He does. And it's especially on Twitter. And it's surprising that, especially because he paints his nails. People don't like that. So I am very happy to see him succeeding because it silences the haters and the clowns and the bozos. And
good for
we don't
him.
want
And he
any
can
of
beat
that.
the shit out of 99% of the haters. He's 6'6", and he's a freaking truck.
He's a beast.
Yep. I've had two big baseball crushes in my life. Nomar when I was 12 years old, and Tristan Casas right now.
Oh wow.
Big fan.
All right.
Hey, I'll give him a shout. I played with him in the USA qualifier.
He's a good dude.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's very good
pretty
dude.
quiet, I would say, right? Like
he's quiet on Twitter. He
relaxed.
has some weird things he puts on there every once in a while.
Yeah,
but,
he's very into the evolution of lizards because they're faster now. He can't catch them, but maybe he's slower. But he just thinks that lizards are faster.
We're gonna get him on the show here.
You have to.
And you know who's been doing well?
Yeah,
Jaron Duran, man. That kid he was on the same team with us. The guy could fly. He's playing a great center field. He's spark plug. He's scoring on wild pitches, basically.
Yeah.
He's a roller coaster. He's like a wild child because sometimes you'll be like,
jacked.
You'll be like, Duran, don't do that.
And now back to foul territory.
FT Live is back. Lo Cain, Adam Jones, Scotty Braun, and Lo. Can you do the introductions? You posted the show like 6 times now. You've got the chops. Go ahead.
Yes.
Listen,
the man, the myth, the legend, my guy, Whit Merrifield. Let's go.
Lolo, you Rudy Poo ass. What you doing, man?
Hey, man, just resting my feet.
Hey man, you look good. I'm surprised you're not fatter than you are.
Hey, just give me about another year. Give me about another year, man.
Oh man, what's up, guys?
Hello, tell them what you've been up to.
Hey man, listen, been coaching, been hanging out with my boys. You see all this dessert behind me? Eating dessert every single night. You know how I roll.
That's Tempur-Pedic. Is it good?
I think it's time for an upgrade. I think I had it about 10 years now. I think it's time for me to upgrade to Tempur-Pedic. I'm all about relaxing.
You need a sleep number. You need one that'll the head will come up so you can lay down. Just push it up so you can start watching TV.
Thanks for the input, man, because I need that. I like to spend a lot of time in my bed, resting, relaxing, and eating. That's about it.
Whit, how you doing, my man?
Hey, Jay, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Hey, how was Cain as a teammate? Just on a day-to-day basis, dealing with him, dealing with his foot massager that he got from Brookstone.
It was like having just like an old man just chilling in the clubhouse with you. This guy was so funny every day. Same guy every day. Come in, hey man, I'm tired. My feet hurt today. I don't know, but he'd go in the cage. We'd be getting our work in. Hey man, let me get about 7 to 9. All I need is about 7 to 9. Go in, hit a couple like flips. He just chopped the ball into the ground a couple times. All right, I'm good. Go out and you're a BP. Hey, I thought so when I got to the big leagues, a little nervous about getting there, and it was late for me. I wasn't a big prospect, not sure if I could play in the big leagues. And as soon as I saw Cain hit BP, I was like, this guy's hitting third for us tonight. And all he's trying to do is flare a ball over first base. I was like, maybe I can play in the big leagues. But I watched him in the game. It was like flare, and then it'd be just a fucking piss rod to left center. He'd lean back on one, run about a 10-second home to third. It was like he was sandbagging us all the time. He was just talking about how he was old and feet hurt and his legs hurt, and then it was like ball hitting the gap and Cain standing under a catch and then nobody else would. So he was great though. He's never a dull moment with Cain around.
I'll see that. I want to follow up. That was you guys just played a real tough series with Baltimore. Your shortstop just went down, Bobichet. Yeah. That's obviously never good. Obviously, somebody's going to have to pick up the pace with him out gone. And just what does the moves tell you that you guys made? And how good is Baltimore coming in there? I mean, that's a tough team. We've obviously they're first in the division. And you guys' situation, you're not far back, especially of a wild card, and not of a division. That's always up for grabs. So what's the temperament in the Blue Jays clubhouse in the last couple of days?
It's better in our clubhouse than I think outside of the clubhouse. I think people are we had a lot of hype coming into the year. We're a really good team. It hasn't quite, I think, played to the potential that we know we can play to. We're still in a great spot to be in the playoffs, and you guys know once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. So that's still our goal right now. Baltimore's a good team. They've had our number so far this year, and took 3 out of 4 from us at home. So credit to them on a good series. They played well. They pitched well. But like I said, we're still in a good spot to make the playoffs. Got a big series this weekend in Fenway, and against the team that's chasing us. We're going to do our best to take it to them here and continue to push into the dog days of August into September. And then come October, I don't think this team gets rolling. Anybody wants to see us in the playoffs.
Hey, Whit, is it fair to say that fans and media have been too hard on this team? I mean, we're good, right? On this show, we'll real talk it up. If a team sucks, they suck. If a team didn't make moves, we crushed plenty of teams that didn't make moves. Your team did. You're 10 games over 500. You're in a wild card spot. Yes, the team's not winning the division right now, but it's always a very tough division. And this year, actually, teams that Baltimore that usually weren't good for a long time are good. Like you said, yeah, maybe the Blue Jays haven't put together a 10-game win streak, but you want disappointment. The Mets had the highest payroll of all time. They're not even going to be close to a playoff team. The Cardinals were heavily favored to win the NL Central. They're a seller. I wouldn't consider anything going on in Toronto right now that abnormal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's because we're winning games differently than I think people anticipated us winning games. We were supposed to, with our offense, people are expecting us to go out and thump teams, put up 10, 11 runs a game, when really that hasn't quite been our identity yet. Our pitching has been incredible. And so we're beating teams 3-2, 5-3, 2-0. We've kind of relied on our pitching so far. And credit to them for the incredible job they've done to this part. And offensively, we know we gotta get it together, and we gotta start like manufacturing runs, scoring runs, figuring out how to get a runner in from third base, less than 2 outs, move a guy over, do things like that we're not doing a good enough job of if we want to make a run in the postseason. But we know it's there. We got a track record on this team of guys that are really good offensive players. And so we know it's there. It's just whether or not how quickly we can tap into that, and hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, Whit, man, I agree with you, man. I think you guys will bounce back. I think you guys will get it rolling. You have too much talent on a team not to, go out there and compete and be a part of a playoff run. But what have you thought about Manoah, and what was your feeling when you saw when Bo came up limping there when he was running down the baseline?
Yeah, that wasn't good. We got the good news was it wasn't as severe as it looked initially at the time. So that's good news. I talked to him yesterday. He's staying back in Toronto getting some work done. You guys know the Boston training room is really small here, so no reason for him to be here this series. So he's back home, but he felt good yesterday. Feels like his knee's coming in the right direction, and we need him back as soon as he can get back. So hopefully, I think his 10 days is up. I think right when we get back home, maybe. So we got a 7-day road trip. So I think hopefully when we get back, Bo might be ready to go.
And how's Alek Manoah doing since he came back? He's a pretty big personality for the team last year. Did he talk to you or any of the guys about like what he's been through this year? Or is he trying to just kind of like do this and be like, all right, let me just focus on my starts and get myself back on track?
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's kind of gone through what players go through in the big leagues. It's been such a grand scale for him because the guy was second or third in Cy Young last year at such a young age, so new to the league, and then when he struggles, everyone now that this guy busts on the scene and everyone expects him to be that guy every single year, when that's not really how baseball works for 99% of people. And so he's gone through some struggles, and everybody does, and you learn from it and hopefully get better, and I think he's got the mentality to do that.
Whit, do you really care what position you play? Because obviously you're the Swiss Army knife, and when you see Bo go down, that moves. I mean, that shifts. He's an everyday player, so that shifts, and you might be called on to play short. I don't know how much you have played it. I've seen you at second, left, right, some center, pitch. Hell, have you caught? Have you caught yet?
No,
you probably.
Hell no. I like playing second base. I think it's my best position when I can play there day after day and stay sharp there. I've had 2 chances to do that in my career, and both times, by bias, but I think I should have won the Gold Glove both times from a number standpoint. And but I know there's value to me being able to do multiple things. And when somebody goes down, we can bring somebody up, and I can move around because I've done it for so long. So I understand the value in that, but from a player's and I guess business standpoint, I think my greatest value is being at second base every day. And but again, there's also value in bouncing around, and I know that. But when I do that defensively, it kind of it kind of hinders my defense a little bit because I know I could be better than I am playing when I'm bouncing around, just because I'm not as sharp, obviously, when you're not playing the same position every day. So I feel a little bit of that when I continue to move around. But I don't want to sound like I don't want to do that, because I do like being on a good team, and good teams sometimes need a guy like that.
Yeah, I agree with, man. Even when I remember just myself moving from center to right, and just, the way the ball travels, it comes out there different, and you got to move from the infield to outfield. So that's a lot of moving around, man. It's tough. It's tough on you, tough on your body, and it's tough to kind of stay consistent with that. But man, you've been swinging the bat, so I'm assuming you're feeling good at the plate. You're looking good. How has the transition been, I guess, to Toronto? How has that transition been? Do you like it out there? How has it been for you?
Hey, man, it's the fences are a lot shorter than at the K. I'll tell you that.
That's the truth.
So, I finally got to lean back on some balls in July, like vintage low Cain, and finally drove some balls and hit some balls out of the park. So that was encouraging, and hopefully continue to do that for the rest of the season. Nice. This is my free agent year. I got to get that low K contract.
I like it. I love to hear that. Now I love to hear that.
Low, when we get to the off season, we need like a good essay from you on Whit Merrifield's candidacy and free agency. Okay.
For my guy Whit, I'm all in. Just let me know when and where I'm there.
Hey, I would pay a lot of money to get a low Cain essay just to read it.
Done. Consider it done.
What that looks like.
Well, we'll start working on it behind the scenes right after the show, baby.
100%.
Whit, for speaking of the Royals and that ballpark, do you think that sometimes guys, free agents, we got all hitters, all position players today, will look at it and be like, damn, I'm not going to have the same pop in Kansas City. Like, obviously people talk about that. Ballpark factors are still a huge part of the game, and it's so unique in baseball versus, basically all the other major sports. Obviously golf's different, but you don't talk about that really in basketball and football, in hockey even. So how often do you think that's a factor? Because we know it is for pitchers. We've had pitchers on that are like, I'm not going to Colorado,
It's baseball is such an interesting and sometimes unfair dynamic when it comes to that, because as athletes, we get paid on performance, and we get paid on performance versus other athletes that are at our position or we're comparable to, right? So the only difference is in baseball, it's not apples to oranges. I mean, imagine like in basketball, Golden State, say Steph Curry or whoever, versus James Harden, and Steph Curry gets to play on a rim that's like 6 inches bigger in diameter than James Harden did. Well, he's gonna have more points because more of his shots are gonna go in than James Harden's. I've hit some balls this year, probably 3 off the top of my head that I can think of, that wouldn't have been home runs in Kansas City. But since I hit them not in Kansas City, now I have 3 more home runs. My OPS is higher. I have more home runs. I'm valued more as more of now I'm seen as more of a power guy versus what I would have been if not saying I'm a power guy now, but I'm just saying, for example, if I hit 25 home runs in Toronto and those same balls in Kansas City would have been 16 home runs, I'm valued more because I have 25 home runs now. Even though I hit the same balls, they're just in a different park. You're viewed differently. So baseball it's a weird dynamic. They have like these stats now they're saying, expected whatever. People don't look at that. When it comes down to it, it's all about the numbers that you put up. So it can be a little unfair when you play in a big park versus playing in a small park. So I'm not sure where I was trying to go with that, but I just wanted to make sure that was known.
No, I understand what you're saying, because GMs and front offices can go deeper on stats, but then the owners pay the bills and make the decisions, and if they look up,
and there's also
got, 25
not
bombs.
only just from a pure number standpoint and an expected standpoint, there's a different mentality and a different confidence when I'm playing in Yankee Stadium, and I know I can miss a ball, not like totally miss, but not hit a ball perfectly to right field, and it's going to be a home run, versus playing somewhere where if I hit that same ball to right field, it's going to be an out 99% of the time. So there's a different confidence, a different approach mindset when you're in the box and you're playing on a more hitter-friendly park. that the expected numbers can't really put that into the analytics and algorithms that everybody's trying to do now.
No, you're right. And it gives teams an advantage too. I mean, when we're talking about the extremes like Kansas City and Colorado and even Miami to an extent for years too, where it's tough to hit the ball out of the ballpark there. Hey, I want to ask you about, because we haven't had you on since. So Matt Chapman and his line to your manager about Shohei Ohtani, who's pretty good. It was freaking hilarious. Why did we pitch to him? He's the only effing guy on the team that can hit. So did you guys get a good laugh out of that? But also, side note, it's true. I don't understand how some teams try and challenge Shohei over and over. Mickey Moniak's had a really nice season. He can burn me all day. It was the same thing with Judge last year. Last 2 months of the season, teams started pitching him differently. And, hey, the Yankees' offense fell apart.
Yeah, so that situation, it was kind of funny. First off, Chappie knew right away, like, this was not the right thing to say in the dugout. And even in the moment, it wasn't the right thing to say. I mean, we got Kevin Gausman pitching, who's one of, if not the best pitcher in the American League, with pitching to Shohei with nobody on base in the first inning. Like, you don't walk him there. You go after him, and you trust your guy to get him out. He made a mistake with the fastball over the middle of the plate. Shohei's a great hitter, hit it out. That's a solo home run from Shohei in the first inning. Okay, you can have that. So Chappie was talking to us afterwards. He goes, guys, like, I don't. What do I say? Like, because he was trying to figure out what to say to the media because he knew they were going to ask him about it. He goes, I know I messed up. Like, what do I say? And I'm not going to say who, but somebody chimed in and goes, Chappie, dude, you've got to use this Tourette's thing as more of a crutch than you do. Because Chappie's got Tourette's. He's got Tourette's legit. And so they were trying to say, look, man, just say you got your Tourette's came out. He was in one of his moments where his condition takes over, and when it takes over, there's times where he can't let things go, whether it's an umpire's call or whether something small happens, and he just can't let it go. He just gets fired up, and so yeah, we were like, guys were just like, just go. Tourette, your Tourette's took over, and he doesn't want to use it as an excuse, but he's got a condition, and he's aware of it, and he's actually really funny about it. But yeah, that was just a moment of Chappie's where he was overly angry in a moment where he probably didn't need to be.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, no one got hurt, no big deal. And then it's a funny story, afterward and all of that. Did he say that? Just quick follow-up there. Did he end up saying that, the Tourette's part, or he didn't?
No, he doesn't like to use it.
He should have.
He doesn't like to use it. We're like, dude, like, what are they going to say to you?
They would have said, I would have tipped my cap and said, You know what?
Oh, okay, we're sorry. We didn't think about that.
Yeah, hell yeah. So, I like that.
It was great the rest of the series. I think we walked Shohei like 4 times intentionally, and I think our manager gave Chappie credit after the series was over.
Yeah, Schneider was just like, hey, I'm just doing what my players tell me, walking them, winning ball games. So that's great. Hey, on our way out here, because we haven't had you on since, congrats, All-Star. We had you right before that. We were talking about it. So congrats on that. Earn that shit. Love it. And yes, unfortunately, you're part of our poll question because of the frogs. So I'm assuming you'd rather have frogs than snakes?
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt. They're still around. They've been less frequent, but they're still around. So
yes,
I'm trying to figure somebody out to come and get it fixed. Locaine, you got any frogs out there? You got a lot of land.
Man. No frogs. Snakes.
Well, that's not good.
Got a little BB gun. You don't got to take them out.
That's probably why you got no frogs, because all them snakes are eating your frogs.
There it is.
That's true. Hey, wait. Great to talk, man. Great catching up. We'll get you again in a few weeks.
All right, fellas. See y'all.
Later. That's Whit Merrifield of the Toronto Blue Jays coming right back on Stadium with our perfect game player of the week next.
I saw a sign last night and it said bandwagon watch because at this time last year for the Cubs, it was hug watch. because, so many guys got traded in the year before that as well. So I thought that was pretty fitting. Bandwagon watch, but hey, I'm all about the bandwagon. We want everybody on board right now. It's a fun time to be a Cub fan.
So tell us about the last 2 days and really following the trade deadline. Did you sense the team was excited that they decided not just to skip about selling, which was a talk at some point, but to actually add a guy like Candelario to help the offense?
Yeah, I think it was interesting with this team dating back to June after they came off a pretty tough May and started playing not well in June either. But there was this belief in the clubhouse of we're so much better than our record indicates. And I would have said that into really early July as well, before the All-Star break. And at that time, it seemed like the Cubs were most likely going to be sellers yet again at the deadline. But there was a fear of guys in the clubhouse, like, we still haven't had enough time to really click, and we really do feel like we're better. And then we saw what happened after the All-Star break. The Cubs just clicked and went on this roll. And I can tell you that the vibe inside the clubhouse and what they perpetuated to the media shifted quickly. And it was finally like, okay, this is a team we've believed we've had all season. Things are coming together, and now we're proving it to the front office. This is a team that can win the NL Central. And so I think after the second game against the White Sox, when the Cubs were trailing by 7, scored 8 unanswered runs, that was when I stepped into the clubhouse post game and I was like, okay, this is different. And I think there's a real belief now that they believe the guys in the front office kind of understand what they're doing, and that they would in fact be at least holders. I said holders, but eventual buyers, and to get Candy off of the market, arguably the best bat out there, was pretty big time.
Now back to Foul Territory.
Back at it on Stadium, Braun, Jones, Cain, and let's put an end to our first poll question, which was dedicated to Whit. Which animal would you not want to take over your deck, which is the problem for Whit on his property? Frogs is his problem. Geese, slugs, or snakes. And it's pretty tight between geese and snakes, which is super weird. Like, snakes are a lot more of a problem in my mind. But okay, people, you do you on a Friday. That's fine. Anyway, second poll question. Rich recently traded pitcher, had the best debut on Thursday out of Jack Flaherty, Michael Lorenzo, and Max Scherzer. Go ahead and vote. Watchstadium.com/foul territory or that QR code bottom left corner of your screen. Now time for the perfect game player of the week. Derek Curiel had a damn week. He's having a summer. Check out the senior at Orange Lutheran High School in California, a 3-time perfect game All-American, 6'2", 175. He's committed to LSU. He is a senior outfielder in West Covina, California, and the 3rd ranked overall player on Perfect Game's list. Hit 588 at 17 New Worldwood Bat Association in July. Big numbers, putting his walks together too to get the OPS over 1,500 back then. So let's give it up for Derek right now, joining us on FT Live. You got a good crew here too, Derek. As an outfielder, we picked kind of the perfect time to bring you on. We got Jonesy and Cain with us, so congrats on being the perfect game player of the week. And how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, it's nice to be up here with two other great center fielders that I've been looking up to since I was a little kid. So thank you guys.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, want to know, who's your favorite player in today's game, and who do you model your game after?
I would have to say my favorite player in today's game is Ronald Acuna. I mean, I love his passion for the game, and for me, I say I model my game after Christian Yelich, a lefty hitter like him, and he's also a California guy, but I feel like me and him have the same type of swing, kind of gap to gap, and not too much power, but we got it in there too. But my power's continuing to grow, but I think Christian Yelich.
Okay, Lo. So give him the whole breakdown of what Yelly's like. Tell him what he's got to do to be like Yelly. Give me the whole routine of like when you would see him at the clubhouse through the end of the ball game, because you played with him.
Just developing that routine. He's very consistent with his routine. He show up, make sure his body's ready to go, foam rolling, working out, taking swings in the cages. very consistent with his routine. So, once you get to that level, that I hear you're going to LSU, and I'm sure you're going to go far in life, and just develop a consistent routine. That's the most important thing, man. And just stick with it, and keep going. And I just want to say something real quick. I was really impressed with your numbers. When I was in high school, I started playing baseball late, but when I was in high school, I signed Milwaukee, and when I got drafted and I flew out to Arizona, you start to meet your new teammates and new players, and we sit in the locker room and everyone's like, "Hey, what'd you hit in high school?" He's like, "Oh, I hit 600. Oh, I hit 530 or whatever the case." I think I hit 330, and I was kind of embarrassed to kind of say my numbers, So I'm very impressed, man, with your numbers and the way you go about your business, man. So kudos to you. And just a quick question from me: what made you choose LSU?
Well, and I will just follow up. There is a chance, I'm sure, Derek, you get drafted in the right spot. You never know.
Yes.
Could end up going straight to the pros too, right? I'll put a little side note in there just in case.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, the only answer to that question is Jay Johnson, the new head coach at LSU. When he was back at U of A, I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, and he was recruiting me, but I'd always told my mom I wanted to go to the SEC. And I said, "Mom, if that coach ever gets a job in the SEC, I'm going there." So as soon as it hit ESPN that he was going to LSU, I was going to be a Tiger. So I really respect Coach Jay Johnson. And, just look what he's done in 2 years at LSU. And that's a guy I want to play for. He's a great man and a great coach.
What did you think of LSU's season just now and seeing obviously two of the top players in college baseball on the same ball club and then getting drafted like that?
That's just the start for LSU, and I think that that's so cool because usually the best ranked team going into the season usually never comes out on top. It's just a thing that's happened in college, and LSU is finally able to snap that curse, and they, with all the high expectations, they exceeded them, and Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens led the way, obviously, and I just think that's so cool that they were just number one in so many levels on how they went about their business, on being national champions, having the top 2 players in the draft. I just thought that was a great season for LSU, and that's just the start.
Hey, how has your perfect game experience been in terms of helping you play up against top level competition? I know you're in California. Some guys we've spoken to, if they're in a state maybe that might not have as much competition as we see here, ball smoked up the middle. How much has this helped you in a lot of ways to be with like a high caliber level of talent and also have resources like we're looking at here? The analytics that guys are into now, I'm sure just about everybody that you're playing with there, they're like, "Yo, what's your top exit velocity, right? Like, what's your EV at?"
Yeah, I owe a lot of my my success to Perfect Game because being a California guy, there's a lot of good baseball down here in SoCal, but all the big events where you face big time arms and big time teams is in the East Coast, and Perfect Game runs those tournaments and those showcases. And my family sacrifices for me to go out there all summer. I was over on the East Coast for about 2 months this summer, and just playing with and against those guys in Perfect Game is just been so beneficial for me. And just getting to compete, like I said, with the best and against the best just only helps me elevate my game because iron sharpens iron. And it's just been a great ride. And I'm excited that my travel ball is over. I'm a little sad, but now I'm getting ready for high school spring, and it's going to be fun.
Hey, as a high school kid who had obviously college offers, but I went fortunate enough to go in the first round. Do you have a lot of people in your corner, and your parents, could be, again, coaches, a lot of different people could be in your corner helping you make this decision on either if you're a first round pick or if you're not, if you're in the later rounds in the college route? Because I was fortunate enough to be a first round pick. I needed some money, so I signed, and it's been, I was fortunate enough to have a solid career. So what do you have anybody that's helping you make that decision of, if I'm a first rounder, that's really enticing to go play pro ball, which is a job, versus going and still getting the development of college, which some kids do need, and it's great for them.
Yeah, I have a great support system. My dad and my brother played college ball and high school ball, and I would say that they're my biggest mentors. And it's kind of just in the family, we're still thinking. I mean, it's really early. A lot of stuff can happen in a year. I got to stay healthy, but I mean, you can't go wrong. Either being a pro, what I've dreamed of since I was a kid, or going to the #1 college in the country who just won a national championship, who just got the 1-2 picks. I mean, for me, I've been blessed to be able to have these options, and whatever way God leads me is the way I'm gonna go.
Love it.
Nice, man. Hey, you seem like a very humble and grounded kid, man. Never change. Always stay that way, man. I like your demeanor, man. Just quick question for me: was center field your first love? Was baseball your first love? And also, did you start playing tournament ball at a very young age, or was it when you kind of got up in age?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny story. I was always the kid who wanted the ball, so I'm a lefty, but probably until I was like 10 years old, I was the catcher on the team.
Oh, wow.
And I was a catcher for a long, long time because really when you're little, they don't hit the ball in the outfield. And I switched to center probably like in 10U, 11U. And then ever since I went in center, I never wanted to go anywhere else because there's a lot of action out there and you get to run free and dive, throw it as hard as you can and have fun. I mean, yeah, so ever since I've been in center, since I was about 10 years old, I've never left.
Nice.
Love that. Well, hey, keep doing your thing, man. You are super well spoken too. So it was a pleasure talking to you and getting these guys to have a little combo with you too, Derek. Good luck the rest of the summer, and we're looking forward to seeing the next steps for you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Derek Curiel joining us, the Perfect Game Player of the Week, and want to remind everyone that you can use the QR code on your screen and enter the code 20FOUL-LAUNCH. There it is, 20FOUL-LAUNCH, to get 20% off all 4 flavors of Launch Hydrate, the official sports drink of Perfect Game. Coming right back on Stadium with our picks for the night.
Freddie's okay with you guys mocking him in his Louboutins?
It was his idea, I think.
In his Louboutins, does he still wear the Louboutin sneakers every road trip with the spikes and all that stuff on it?
I have seen him wear those. He doesn't wear them every time, though.
Okay, all right. He's graduated, so tell him congratulations for me when you see him.
He signed a big-ass contract, AJ. He can buy a few other pairs now, I think, too.
Yeah. He used to get on him because we had Terry Pendleton and we had some older school guys, and one of the Braves dress code was no sneakers. It's all changed now, obviously, but he would wear Louboutins with the spikes on it, and he'd come in, and Terry Pendleton would be like, dude, those are sneakers. And the rule was if you couldn't play basketball in them. So Freddie's like, I'm not playing basketball in these, so I can wear whatever I want. He's like, they have 2-inch spikes on them, Terry. I'm going to spike you when I dunk on you. So it was the running joke with the Braves for a couple years.
Yeah, Freddie loves telling that story. He, because they didn't have heels on them, and then you can't play. They were tennis shoes, and so he likes to say that he couldn't play tennis in those.
Hey, are there any team rules like that the Dodgers have that are unique? I mean, not obviously the Yankees facial hair policy, but are there any things that, like, whether it's a team rule or just like the vets have where it's like, oh, you don't do that? Our guys last week were all over Sal Frelick. We get a lot of Milwaukee Brewers on this show too. And when he had his call-up video, he was in the clubhouse ripping through some spread with his shirt off. And they were like telling all the current Brewers, they were like, don't let him do that in the current clubhouse. They're like, we don't want no nipple hair in our food.
No, I don't know that we have any unique team rules. I mean, obviously we keep it pretty loose over here, and that's always been our thing. If you have too many rules, rookies come up and they feel like they're so tight that they can't perform. So we like them to feel comfortable. It's really more just don't do anything that's embarrassing to yourself or to the team. Be yourself, but obviously, keep it reined in a little bit.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live, Rockies Cardinals is tonight, and you can watch that game as the MLB free game of the day streaming on the Bet MGM app. And you're like, wait, but both of those teams are out of it. Yeah, but you have precious starts left for Adam Wainwright. So if you want to see it for free $99, live streaming is available to all Bet MGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. So make sure you check that out. Let's run through our Bet MGM locks. First off, we're looking back at yesterday. Damn, I'm cold right now. Brockstar, Dodgers by 1 million. That worked. And look at Adam nailing that parlay at plus 230. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
O's win. Flaherty hits his Ks. Gossman hits his Ks. Money bags are fantastic. We're all in very, very plus money right now. So if you've been following every FTOs, I hope there's someone out there who just went straight through with all of our picks and the money we laid down, because they'd be loving life right now and probably paying for dinner. Your BetMGM locks for Friday, Jonesy. Stay hot.
Oof, this was a tough one, real tough one. I had to stay away from the Mets and the Orioles. Got to leave that alone. Bucks coming back tonight.
Yep.
The Yankees, Astros. That's a coin flip. There's some tough games. I wanted to go with the Rays at Detroit. Can't trust them right now. But the only team I think I can trust is the Phillies. I'm just going money line the Phillies to beat the Royals. They need the W's. Obviously, they're in the hunt. And they're home, and they got Nola on the bump, who is really good at the ballpark. So I'm going to stay with that one.
And I see run line, though. Are you cool with run line? Because I see minus 120.
Yeah.
Run line, minus 1.5 to win by 2 or more? Okay.
Yeah, let's score some runs tonight. Let's see if Bohm from the bottom of the lineup does something. I might want to hedge it, but, at this point, I just need the W.
Yep. And Cain, you telling that?
I'm gonna go with what's the strikeouts for Nola tonight? Do we have the strikeouts on Nola?
No, I gotta look them up.
I'm gonna
go. Put me on the spot there. You going K prop?
Yes, I'm gonna go over on that.
All right,
I
got the Milwaukee Brewers run line. Okay, plus 125. They've dominated the Pirates this year. Quinn Priester has struggled when I've seen him so far. So until he shows otherwise, I'm going to trust him. I was on Bet Ql this morning and kind of put the host on the spot, and I was like, hey, help me out. And we all decided plus 125 on the Brewers. Bonus code for you is FOUL. If you download the BetMGM sports app on iOS or Android, sign up and deposit into your newly created account, place in your first bet offer, and receive up to 1,000 back in bonus bets. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're flipping over to Foul Territory's YouTube channel for hour number 2, which includes Paul Sewald, recently traded.
Nice.
Let's run it. Hour number 2, FT Live. How we doing? That's the Dodgers thing, right?
Have some fun.
That's what Mookie and Freddie and Kike obviously does it with like a whole twist and shake and the whole thing.
It's like that wackably inflatable thing. I don't know how to say it real
Family Guy. Wacky inflatable arm flailing man or whatever the hell it is. I'm a big Family Guy. I like it. All right, so we have Paul Sewald joining us soon on the show, which I'm excited about. We just had him on recently, right before the trade deadline, and we're like, you good? And he was like, I don't know. I think I'm going to get traded. He's like, I'm worried about it. My GM likes to just make trades for fun. And he was right. He got dealt to the Diamondbacks. So we'll ask him about it, one of Jonesy's former teams. So let's hit some hot corner topics right now. We'll start with Trey Turner, because at the end of hour 1, Cain started talking about it, and same with Jonesy. The Philadelphia Phillies have been playing good ball. They just took 3 out of 4, I believe it was, against the Marlins. And now here they come against hitting home here to try and hit a nice weekend series, but Trey Turner keeps moving down the lineup. Matt Gelb, who covers the team every day for The Athletic, said he took the blame, hitting the cage until midnight, and then became an expensive 8-hitter. The club support has not wavered. Not a single person that is in the clubhouse with the Phillies jersey on has lost confidence in what he is able to do. A quote from his story. So sitting 235, his on base is under 300. Is it weird that we're like 3/4 into the season and I'm not worried about it? I mean, I'd be more worried about it if the Phillies were 5-6 games out of a wild card, but they're right in the thick of it. And I keep watching going, this is going to turn around, right? And because the defense has been a problem too. Like he booted the Josh Bell ground ball the other night that ended up kind of costing them the game when they lost the one loss they had in Miami. Like Jonesy, when you're looking at a player like that, he's in his prime. It's not like he lost a step or anything. It seems like maybe you sign for 300 plus, you head over, you start to get in a rut, and things just spiral.
He's in his head. I mean, deeply in his head. And I've played against him since he first got called up. We had the battle of the Beltways, and he was just the quiet kid, always the quiet kid. Goes to LA. He doesn't have to be the loud. He doesn't have to be the superstar. Just to be the quiet kid still there. And then obviously a $300 million contract, that's going to stand you out no matter what. And you're in a city like Philly that demands it. So I was talking with Ryan Howard about it. He said, Philly, when you go get groceries, they let you know that you're struggling. And so I don't know if he's been to Whole Foods lately and then go down to a certain aisle and somebody's like, hey, I need you to pick up the slack. But, it's pressure. And I think he has the right guy in Bryce Harper there who can help him alleviate it. But, at the same time, he's a professional also. And he, has to get the job done. He knows that. But, just imagine if he gets hot and you say he's hitting 230 right now. But what if he hits 330 the last 50 games and propels this team to just like how they did last year at this point to going, all the way to the World Series. So, he's obviously one of the game's top players, just going through a massive rut, and it happens, but he's got, best part, he's got 10 more years to help out. But the next 2 months are very vital, and Trey Turner's a generational talent also, so he gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and if he does, you're right, Lo. If he does, teams are screwed because the Phillies' offense is pretty good already, and they've got some dudes that are not performing up to how they usually would. And it's one thing if you're looking at a guy and you're like, man, he's not catching up to fastballs. He's slowing down his bat speed. Obviously people will point at age. That gets everyone. It's a young guy.
Yeah, he's a very young guy. I definitely think he'll turn it around. But, it's Philly, man. It's a tough place to play in. Even that being your home stadium, it's a tough place to play in. And for me, I know Philly is a what have you done for me lately type of place, man. And honestly, I was in a situation where we played Philly, and I remember Bryce Harper hit a double his first at bat and then struck out the next two, and they booed him. And I was like, oh man, I'm in center field, like, man, it's tough to play here. So hey, I feel for him, but he got to find a way to go out there, hopefully turn things around, which I think he will, and start to get the job done, because as we know, you have to get the job done in Philly, or they will let you know.
Hell yeah. And I will say this, the Phillies did something. They didn't do a ton, but they made a move, and I really liked it. Michael Lorenzo has had a very solid, consistent year. I know some were like, oh, he's going past, or he's going to blow past his innings. But yeah, I mean, he pitched a lot as a reliever. Dude's in ridiculous shape. It's also not like you're babying him. Like, he's been in the league for a while. He looked awesome yesterday. There were some good debuts. I love, Jonesy, when trade deadline ads pay off right away. The Phillies won yesterday. They saved their bullpen when they needed to, right? Coming off a long extra inning game. So huge win already on the pickup of Lorenzen for their rotation. And even if eventually he moves to the bullpen when they're in the playoffs, that's the kind of move that I think some of the teams that were quiet should have been looking into more.
If you don't think about it, I mean, he's a Swiss Army knife also. He can play outfield. He can hit.
Yep.
He can play, and he can start and relieve. And obviously they got, Wheeler, Ranger, obviously Nola throwing tonight, Taiwan. But he can go to the pen in the short series because he has that range. And again, he can pinch hit, and he can play the outfield in the pinch. If you go extra innings, he can literally do it all on the field. And, eating up 8 innings is big. That's big. An extra inning game, and then you get to, save the bullpen, come home. Everybody gets some home cooking. You got Noel on the mound. Hopefully he repeats that. And, you give your bullpen a couple days off. That's big, especially going into this warm month of August.
Yeah, and the other debut that I want to get to, I'll let Jonesy lead this one off because he talked about it yesterday. Jack Flaherty. Hey, and we gave the Orioles, a lot of people on this show gave the Orioles some shit. And I still will say I wanted them to do just another pitcher move or two. Like I would have loved if they got Flaherty and Lorenzo in. Like that, I would have been like, let's go.
Of course.
Right? But I still will say if that's the Jack Flaherty they're getting, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 punch outs, hit 97 in the first. And that was his bad inning in the first because he was probably so pumped up to be there now in a playoff race and with a new ball club, and Mom made the trip. But the number I looked at that stood out too, Jonesy, was 2 things. He sat 94, and when his velo is not in the low 90s, I know he's talked about it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It has been in terms of the results. And he had 19 whiffs. That's a lot in a game, and that's the second most he's put together this year. So, like, eye test wise, when I was looking at what he was bringing to the table, I was like, if he pitches like that, he's going to be like number 2 in their rotation.
I mean, he's a frontline starter and has been. The last few years, obviously, he's been a struggle because of health. But when he's out there, he's very, very serviceable, and he looked really good yesterday. And I texted him that Baltimore is really excited that you're here. You have an energy and a demeanor that fits this city. All you need to do is pound that strike zone, let that defense work for you. And last night, that's exactly what he did, and he looked good. He looked really good. And his mom. This is a great story. I've seen it on Twitter how she had to fly to L.A. and go from St. Louis to L.A. back and get up to Toronto. But she made her baby's debut, and that right there, that's the big story. Okay, Mom is the reason why. So let's get her out and get her a place in Baltimore too, and make sure that she presents him with all the confidence in the world.
And the Jonesy text though, what did he say? Did he text you back?
Yeah, he said, I'm excited to be here, and I'm entering a race, so I can't wait. He really couldn't wait to get on the mound. I asked him if he was going to meet the team in Baltimore because I didn't see the rotation. He was like, hell no, I'm going up there and I'm starting in Toronto. I was like, all right, well, I'll be watching.
I like that. Yeah, Lo, what do you think? I mean, Jack Flaherty's been in the league for a while. He's had some shoulder issues in the past, but this is also perfect timing for him from a personal standpoint because you can feel revitalized going to a team that's competing. Also, change of scenery, different pitching people that you talk to. And I don't think he changed much in terms of his pitch mix from what I saw, but this is a guy who's going to be a free agent after the year and might make himself some extra dough if he gives them a good run.
100%. We had an opportunity to have a lot of battles over the years, me being in Milwaukee, him being in, St. Louis. So, the thing for him has always been health, and when this guy's healthy, he's a number one, he's an ace, and you type of guy you want out there. He's the kind of guy you want out there in tough situations. Playoffs comes, you want him out there. But to me, he looks like his old self. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to health. And if he stays healthy, this guy can be dominant the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
I'm with you. And actually, I might have to get my here we go. These are actually becoming a thing now. We do this once a show to shout out our new partnership with Shady Rays, who sent out some shades to the FT fam. They're taking on their own life, and what we're noticing is these shades are agent shades. Okay, so AJ's done it, Brzezinski. I've done it a couple times now. Shady Rays, obviously, quality shades built to last for the people. You get the high quality without the high price. And I think right now, Lo, I might be Jack Flaherty's agent and say, listen, Jack, this is the spot for you. Okay. You want to make some dough? You get out of St. Louis. You've been there forever. There's been a little beef sometimes with the front office. You're not the only one though. Text Tyler O'Neill. He doesn't want to be there right now either. And technically none of your teammates want to be there because they want to win and they want to be on a playoff team. The Orioles are maybe the best team in the American League, and you can be at the top of the rotation. So Anyway,
Yes.
just throwing that out there. And obviously, he might have to say, like, hey, these are durable frames. They're extremely clear optics, and they're great for outdoor adventures. You can have a great time after you sign your contract in the off season. So just wanted to shout them out. Did you got your shades? No?
Let me one.
Okay.
While
he's doing that,
bring my shades.
Well, we don't know where you are half the damn time. You got to give us one place, and then we'll hook you up.
That is true.
They're on the way, though. I promise.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, well, while you do that, Lo, exclusively for our listeners, I just want to let everyone know. Ooh, he put me to shame. Holy shit.
You look good. You feel good. And then you get the candy pop back here and you eat good.
Wow. Yo, I can see it all in those eyes.
I feel
right
like
now.
prime time right now, you know?
Killing it. Exclusively for Foul Territory fam, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use code FOUL for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. The only thing I can't promise you is that you'll look as good as Cain, but like that's everybody. So other than that, you'll look fantastic. You might be number 2, which would be great, which is great for a starting rotation. If you're number 2, you get to pitch in the playoffs. Okay. Let's get back to Biz. Someone who's about to join a rotation who you guys have faced quite frequently in your careers. Dallas Keuchel's back, which is cool. I love that stuff, right? Like sometimes those guys, they struggle at the end of their career and then they just kind of fizzle out. They don't get to say the goodbye. And Jonesy, it's almost like he went to Jared, those commercials. He went to Driveline and they switched up what he was doing, and he's throwing harder, and we get to see him now in the bigs. He was crushing it in AAA.
Throwing harder? Oh, man, that's awesome. I mean, he's younger than me and Cain. I think me and Cain was like, I mean, we want to chase our kids. We made some good money. I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm out. I'm out. Let me go do something else. No, but it's always a tribute to the passion. We love the game. I think we just realized that our bodies, we can kill ourselves anymore. And if his body still feels good, hey, give it all you got, because don't stop until they won't pay you no more. And I love Keuchel, and he's throwing harder. I gotta see this. I'm excited to see this, to see some 90s on the radar gun from him.
Yeah, and he's chasing that 10-year mark too for service time. You guys know what that's about.
Once after that, it was I'm out.
I'm a pension. Yep, that's it. But imagine like you're pretty close to that mark, right? And some people don't realize some of these things that go on, whether you call it behind the scenes or not. But like you guys know, when you hit the 10-year mark, we usually bring guys on once they hit the 10-year mark, just to kind of clap it up, because I know it's a huge deal in the clubhouse and it's the respect of the players. When you're a guy like him and you're chasing that and you're like, man, if I spend a little more time in the bigs, it changes your life, right? Even if you've got money in the bank.
Yeah, changes everything, I mean, like I said, it's a respect factor, because it's like, oh man, I played 10 years in the show. It's a special feeling, man. And shout out to Keuchel, because he was a guy that it was all about location for him. And I feel like he started to lose his location, like locating the baseball, like he did throughout his entire career, early in his career. And I think that's when he started to get in trouble. But if you're saying he's throwing harder and he's back to locating and he's looking like the old Keuchel, hey, he can be dangerous. And I have no doubt he'll definitely get that 10-year service time.
Hey, you want to talk about 10-year service time? Jay Payton, good friend of mine, he was chasing that at the end of his career. And I think he's just shy of it. D-Train is just shy of 10. And, it's you're right there. And it's like, just give me another month. And I got other friends that are, in the 8s, but other guys in, in that 9, but shy of 10. And that, man, you get that 10. It's not the Hall of Fame, but it's just a little bit, stick your chest out a little bit more. I got 12, I got 10. You know what I mean? Full. I'm fully vested. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a hell of an accomplishment. Number one. I mean, obviously to make it to the major leagues, but to get to 10 years just a hell of an accomplishment.
We've got a couple of our hosts who are just shy of it. We've got some who hit it, right? Like Jones,
AJ.
like AJ, other AJ, right? And I think Kratzy, right? Kratzy hit it. No,
I don't know. Did he hit?
He has parts.
He might be
10.
short.
I think he's probably in the 7s. If I had to guess,
for service time,
he would know. He would know.
Yeah. No
Everybody
Kratz.
knows exactly how much service time they got.
They know.
That's one thing you know.
Oh yeah.
No Kratz. Kipnis is just short. Todd Father just short. I think Brock just short. So we got a bunch of guys that were like in the 8-9 range. Yeah, we might have to make a team together, and we might have to just clear out the Oakland A's for the last couple months and just bring the whole FT fam. Oops. No, no offense to you.
I would have never guessed that Kipnis and Todd Father was short. Wow.
Yeah. Because I remember we had a show where we were congratulating whoever we had on. I think it was Corey Dickerson we had on, and he was celebrating 10 years. And then I was like, well, you guys know? And they were like, no, I don't. I was like, oh, never mind.
Wow. Well, 8 you get the gold card, so I'm happy about that.
There you go.
8 gets you the gold card?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ticket. You and a free guest can get a ticket at the game and all that kind of stuff. I haven't used it yet. I'm excited. I want to know who's ever used it, and I want to ask them, like, does it work, or do you like feel like they're gonna be like, man, who the hell are you?
Might put you in the nosebleeds. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, so I want to take us from that to it ties in because Keuchel's actually up since Joe Ryan went to the injured list. Okay, and he apparently has had, I think it was a groin injury. For the last 7 starts, he hasn't pitched as well, and he was kind of hiding it or just trying to overcome it, which happens all the time, right? At this time of year, almost everyone will say I'm not 100%, but obviously there's some injuries where you got to spend some time off. So some news that circulated the past 24 hours is the great Anthony Rizzo and how much he struggled. And if you actually go back at the end of May, he had a collision on a pickoff attempt at first base with Fernando Tatis Jr., who some people might not realize he's a big dude, Tatis. So, like, you knock into him, you'll feel it. Like, sometimes he looks like kind of tall and skinny, but, like, he's got some build to him, and he's tall. So, I know Rizzo's a rock, too, but he missed a couple days back then with, like, a neck issue, they called it at the time. And then he started feeling fogginess, he said, last weekend in Baltimore. They now have put him on the concussion IL, so he's got post-concussion syndromes. So there's some pretty good stories out there, including Ken Rosenthal, like, went up to him and he was like, you good? Like, you feel like you're getting out of it? And he was like, no, I don't feel like I'm getting out of my slump. And that was kind of weird. Ken said he's never heard that before. And it's because Rizzo said, like, he was waking up feeling hungover, and he was like, maybe it's just the season. And also he said, like, there were times he was forgetting how many outs there were. So, and that one game in Baltimore, the last one of the series, 0 for 5, 5 Ks. I mean, you don't see too many games like that. So now he goes on the IL. There's some people that are questioning, obviously, why when he goes to the team and says he's feeling weird last weekend, he still played a few more games. But I just want to get your take. Like, Lo, for example, I know, we've talked about this. You've had some collisions. First off, guys want to play. So, like, what's the whole process like after you collide when you're talking to the team and obviously you're trying to play, right? Like, there's normal human beings get hurt and they try to freaking still go to the gym.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like I say, we're all competitors, and we want to be on the field. We want to be out there. I call it the jungle. We want to be out there in the jungle with your boys. And I had an instance where we were in the playoffs in Atlanta, and I kind of ran full speed into the fence, and it got me pretty good. It knocked me out a little bit, but the next day I woke up, I couldn't turn my neck to the left at all. But it's the playoffs, so of course I want to be out there. I don't think they wanted me to play, but in my mind, it's the playoffs, so I'm going to find any way possible to be on the field. So I ended up opening my stance completely changed my entire swing to make sure I can actually see the ball. So who knows? Something is affecting him. If he feels like he's not himself, he's not swinging the bat like he normally does, then something's off. So now the trainers, the head coach need to step in and say, hey, just take a few days or take a week, whatever the case may be. Let's get you back to your old self, and then, get you back on the field as soon as possible.
Jones, do you have any collisions or anything like that where you had to have testing done?
I did it in KC. Remember, Cain? I was sober, so I smoked a man running full speed. I was like in between steps, and I would to either jump or turn my body, and I smoked that wall. And then that day, again, RIP to Jordan. He was pitching that day. And I remember I was leading off the next inning, and I struck out. And it was like, how was that bat? I was like, it looked like about 6 balls up coming up there at each time. Took me right off the field. But again, Tony's a dude. Everybody who knows Rizzo, that he is a dude, and he's he loves the jungle. Let's talk about the jungle.
Yeah,
he loves it.
jungle.
But at the end of the day, you can't play like this.
All right.
If it's bothering you like this bad, you can't do it, and that it hinders everything. And it with concussions, as you've seen, it hinders life. Beyond baseball. So I'm glad that he's taking the time. I wish he would have did it earlier. I think if we knew about it earlier, if people knew about it, but you can't do this. You're hurting your real health, away from the game, and you got young kids. You got to think about the big picture. So hopefully, get some time away, get in some dark rooms, and get his vision back, and not waking up feeling like he's hungover, especially if he didn't go out and drink the bar. So don't feel that way. That's not a good thing. So
no.
Again, I just wish him health. And again, you want to be out there. And he's a guy that you look back in games played, he's always in the top, especially of his position, and up in all of baseball. So he wants to be out there, but at the same time, you can't be out there if you can't see. With these guys throwing so damn hard, you gotta protect yourself. So I hope that he gets the time away and gets his vision back and gets hot, because Judge Rizzo Stanton Torres, at the end of the day, that's still not fun to go through.
No, and I'll say this, 2 injuries might have cost the Yankees their whole season now when you look back, right? So Judge with the toe, huge. They would be in a totally different spot. And then Rizzo, who's been, like you said, so consistently good for so long. We've never seen this from him, this much slumping. And now at least we have an answer. But the answer is that collision, again, cost the Yankees offense, because that was the kind of guy, he was off to a good start. People were expecting him to help pick up the pace. And since that collision, which is back in May at this point, he's hitting 172, 1 home run, and a 496 OPS. That's worst in baseball among qualified hitters. That's not Rizzo. And that's why Yanks fans obviously are impatient, and they're going, what the fuck's going on with the Yankees? What's Rizzo? What a bad signing, whatever. And it's like, nah, dude, he's got a concussion, and it wasn't addressed yet, right? And he didn't even know he had it. So At least it doesn't necessarily make a fan feel better about how his team's not playing well, but we've got solid reasoning for why someone like that's not playing well. I bet you he'll be better next season,
And you hit it on the head, though. Tatis is a big guy, and he moves really quickly. Like, his fast twitch is incredible. And he's pushing 6'4", 6'5", 215, 220 with a lot of force each way he goes. So I remember seeing the play. I can't vividly see it, and I don't want to see it, as I know what has made a good friend of mine feel. But that's a collision right there. It wasn't Volpe hitting him. You know what I mean? It wasn't the smaller middle infielders. It was a guy equal size that hit him. So that hurt.
Yeah, that hurt.
As we see.
Exactly. Get well soon, Riz. And welcome back, Brandon Woodruff, coming to the party. Big Woo gets so much attention. And I think, I get to learn how some of the players are liked and respected. And Brandon Woodruff is talked about for months now, even when he's on the IL. Of course, we know what he does on the bump. But dudes in Milwaukee, because we have a lot of them on low, they miss him. Freddie Peralta just went out and said it in the beginning of the year, which I thought was fun. He was like, that's my guy. That's my number one on the mound if I need somebody, And he's got good teammates with him too. Corbin Burns is no slouch, but Brandon Woodruff is respected. And, hey, you want a second half addition? We talk about that. I think some teams play that up too much. Like the Red Sox were saying, oh, we got all these pitchers coming back. Like Sale, I'm like, okay, but Sale's great, but he's been hurt a lot. He can't stay on the field right now. They're talking about Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock. Brandon Woodruff coming back, that is a legit claim by a team to be we have a dude that's better than any free or trade addition that we could make at the deadline.
Yeah, and he is that dude. That's the thing, you like to hear about. He's that dude. And Big Woo's he's a great clubhouse guy, and I know it's eating him alive that he hasn't been able to pitch all year. And he's itching to get back out there. I just know the kind of mentality he has and the competitor he is. So, for Freddie to say that, that's something I experienced. You love to have great guys in the clubhouse because it makes the environment a lot more fun. And also you have a top competitor that goes out there and dominates on the mound each start. So, overall, he brings everything to the table that you want in a player.
Yeah, Brandon Woodruff is legit, man. That's a big help for this team. They've got a solid 1-2-3 at the top of that rotation that you don't want to mess with in the playoffs. That's like an old school 1-2-3. You have 3 guys, Jonesy, that can go 7-8 innings in a playoff start, and then it's like Piamps, who's been sick for them, not really a known name, but big trade addition for them. Piamps and Devin Williams, and good night. We took game 1, 2, and 3.
And it's crazy is the wild card is the guy who was just in Milwaukee. He still don't know how they still paying him. Wade Miley. Hey, Wade to go out there and run up 6-7 innings on you real quick. You know what I mean? He worked quick, so you can go to dinner that night. So he is, that to me is one of the guys that is a glue too, as he's the older guy. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Burns and Woodruff are the stuff guy. He's the older guy who's been around a little bit longer. But again, those 2 guys don't need to be spoken to. Those are some of the top pitchers in the game. But having Woodruff back is obviously a big key. It puts everybody, again, back into where they belong in the rotation. And, if you got Burns and Woodruff going back-to-back days, guess what? Your bullpen, hopefully, should have rest days to when the other starters, again, I love Peralta and love Wade, as I just mentioned, and Ray, who's throwing tonight, it still gives the bullpen rest for their starts.
Yeah, they're not going to beat up their bullpen heading into the playoffs. I'm with you. I think they're going to win the division. All right, let's get in our next guest, who's now part of the National League, so he could be in a battle with this team if they don't win the division. Paul Sewald joining us from the Arizona Diamondbacks. We kind of bumped up your appearance with us coming off all of the news, Paul. Good to see you and the smiles. So, hey, welcome to the National League wild card race. How has your last 72 hours been, dude?
Wild. It's been a lot. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind. We're trying to get everything ready. My wife and daughter got everything packed up in Seattle. They're headed home, and they'll meet me in Arizona. It's been a crazy couple of days, that's for sure.
So how surprised were you? Because we had you on days before, and I thought you were more convinced you were going to get traded than we were, because we're like, you got another year of control. If this team does think they're going to compete, like, you're a high leverage reliever for the Mariners who have relied on their bullpen. Did you have an inkling that you were going to get moved? Were there any combos, or it just kind of happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's not my first trade deadline. I guess I kind of saw how, things were working out, and, the Mariners needed a lot of offense, and you can trade relievers at this time for a lot more than you can during normal times. And, I just kind of thought it was a possibility, and but it did come as a little bit of a surprise once we won the 2 games here, or we won 2 out of 3 here in Minnesota. Then we went to Arizona, won 2 out of 3. I kind of felt like we were right there, and maybe I wasn't going to get traded. So it did come out as a little bit of a surprise in the moment, maybe not necessarily the last couple of weeks. I kind of thought it was a possibility, but I'm excited. I'm excited to be in Arizona and excited to be a part of the National League race now.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. I signed in Arizona in 19, and they still have the same guys with Hazen, Derek Hall, obviously Torey Lovello, the manager. How's your first couple of days, the first week actually been there? I mean, great group of guys, very transparent. I mean, I went there in 24 hours. It was more transparent than my 11 years over East. So just how has it been the first, getting your feet wet in a new organization? Obviously, you're thrown right into the fire. But that's a real relaxed and real cool organization and player personnel.
No, you're exactly right. It's been great. I mean, they were so excited to have me, and it just, so that gave me a little bit of a confidence boost that, like, hey, they were willing to give up major pieces for me. They're very excited to have me, and they want me to be a part of this organization for the next year and a half at the minimum. And, that's really good to feel. And that's a really good feeling when you walk in and everyone's excited to have you, excited to introduce themselves, excited to have me. And so, Mike, Torey, they were ecstatic to call me and talk about it. And I just said, I'm going to show up as quickly as I can and get to work.
Hey, Paul, do you think that this has any relatability to 2 years ago with the Mariners when Kendall Graveman was moved? Like, were your teammates texting you like, dude, no? Because my thing is, I really believed in Seattle, even despite these struggles. And I know the offense, wasn't doing what they thought they were going to do. And the Kelnick injury recently hurt too. But I think from a pitching standpoint, you saw that starting rotation has some real talent, and those guys were just getting going. And I always think the last 2 months of the season show starting pitching depth and pitching depth in general, and that's when some of the teams start to crumble. So I was like, I think the Mariners are going to start playing better. So I have a problem. I don't have a problem with the move they made in terms of bringing in position players, because I'm like, they needed some help, some hitting. They've got 2 guys that are going to be on the big league club right away. But I'm like, trade some prospects for that so that you keep your high leverage relievers, because like you got to win those close games. They're going to miss you. I'm telling you. I know you might not say it, but I'll say it.
I'm not burning any bridges here. I'm very thankful for everything Seattle gave me. But that, Jerry and Justin decided they had to make the moves to make their team better. And that's, that was the most important thing. And they thought, that they could replace me in the bullpen, and they have some great guys down there that hopefully get the job done for them. And then you can add some hitters as well. And you can kind of give the best of both worlds without giving up your prospects. They take care of those prospects. They really want them. That's, controllability is an important factor. And I felt like maybe we could have improved our team a little bit without me getting moved, but that wasn't how they decided to go with it. And, that's good for the Mariners. They're doing great. And I'll obviously be cheering for them forever and watching from afar. But now I have to worry about Diamondbacks baseball, and we're ready to go. We're excited for a series here in Minnesota.
So you get traded to a contender, obviously. That we knew that was going to happen if you did get dealt. If you close your eyes just from a location standpoint, and I was like, hey, dude, you got dealt. Don't look at the team yet. Would you be excited that it's Arizona? You can explain the reasoning probably better than I can, but I'm assuming that when you told your fam at least where you're going, they were pretty excited given where you live and when this team has spring training.
Yeah, I mean, there couldn't have been any better. Couldn't have been a better situation here to get traded. It's closer to home. It's where my wife and I met. She went to ASU. My brother went to ASU. We have so many friends and family down there. We're desert people from Vegas, so it really is a special spot and a special place in my family's heart. So to get traded, it was a little bit of a shock, and then they told me Arizona, and then it was like, all right, I can take at least a deep breath and know that this is somewhere I would love to be anyways. And so that would definitely made the whole transition a lot easier, knowing the city, knowing that we're going to have people there to help take care of us. So couldn't have been any better when we found out where we were going, for sure.
How do you to let people know? Obviously, people get traded. That happens. The player, obviously, you get on a first-class flight, go to your new city, get on the field. Behind the scenes, our wives, our kids, our families, the real glue. Take us into what your wife has to do in order to. Again, it's Arizona. It's a lot closer than going. You didn't go to Tampa, Miami, Boston. But give people a glimpse in what's the wife's responsibility behind the scenes, as she's the one who has to do it all by herself.
AJ, this is not your first trip. The wives do everything for us. The MVP, the real MVPs of the family. So, I get the news. I call her right away. I say, hey, we're moving to Arizona. I'm going to play catch, say bye to my teammates, and then I come home and try and pack my stuff. And I'm going to be in San Francisco tomorrow. And she took the whole thing in stride. Obviously, we get home. She's, ultra supportive and just says, we'll figure this out and we will see you in Arizona in a couple of days. And, I pack up my bag and I try and pack up all my stuff and, just to try and get some sleep before I head on the flight the next day. And she's been packing our house up in Seattle nonstop. Had my mother-in-law fly up so she could take care of our daughter while Molly just, became a packing expert. At this point, she is a packing expert. She's, she can do it. She can do it in a couple of days, and it's incredible. And so we got everything shipped. We got cars shipped. We got boxes shipped to Arizona, boxes shipped to Vegas. Just had a whirlwind 72 hours for her as well as she packed up our lives. And I'll see them in a couple of days, and I'm very thankful. It's the wives are the MVPs for sure. All I do is throw a baseball. They handle everything, and so I'm really thankful for her at this time. And she and my daughter Chloe are going to be everything for me when I get down to Phoenix. Everything will be a lot better when we're back together in Phoenix.
That's awesome.
What's going on, Paul? How you doing?
Lorenzo, good to see you, brother.
Likewise. Man, I can really see the excitement all over your face, but you getting traded to Arizona. So I can tell that's a destination that you're gonna enjoy, and it's closer to home, and that definitely makes everything easier. But now, do we need to get on the phone with the agent and say, hey, hey, let's work out a long-term deal here. Let's get something done. Let's go, get it moving.
Lo, I'm just trying to get in one game before we get started on anything. I feel like these 3 games have lasted 3 months. I'm like, just get me in a game. I just want to help the team out. And everybody's making jokes. You get traded, and then I'm just hanging out. So let's get in one game, and then we can worry about contract extension stuff.
I hear you.
Paul, do you know anyone on the team? Did you know anyone coming in? Because this is a pretty young ball club.
Yeah, so Scott McGuff, his best friend Tyler Anderson, and I have played together forever in Vegas, and so Scotty was like we call him, a little bit of a Las Vegan. He stayed there for a couple off seasons, so I knew Scotty a little bit, but everybody else was new. It was, I knew 5 or 6 guys on San Francisco. That was pretty easy for me to just go to San Francisco and see everybody that I know there. But not a ton of my own teammates, but everybody's been welcoming, and these are great group of guys. Young guys, like you said, it kind of feels a little bit like what we had in Seattle the last couple of years, and we built something amazing there. And I'm hoping to be a part of something like that here.
When you get traded, is it weird meeting all new trainers? Obviously, coaches is different because you sub with the coaches, head nod the coaches. You know who the coaches are, but you got the trainers, the strength people now, whole new workouts, all new nutritional, different. Everybody has a different philosophy, and the Diamondbacks trainer is jacked, so he likes to work out.
No, that's been the hardest. Players are easy. Everyone that's a player has a jersey, so you can kind of all right, and we just played them last week, so it's kind of all right, I kind of know most of their hitters and got to see a little bit of their pitches. The players is easy. You're exactly right. It's staff members, from communications to the training room to the weight room to travel secretary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just figured out everybody's name in Seattle. Now I gotta start all over again here in Arizona. So I'm doing my best to try and get everybody on a namely basis. It's going to take a little bit, but everyone's been more than welcoming and easy with me with the names. So I appreciate it a lot.
Will you hit a dinner early on with somebody just to kind of break the ice and get things going? Do you have any plans like that? Does anybody reach out to you yo, what's up, dude? Want to pick your brain a little bit?
This group's been good. We've had a lot of good conversations. Just, on the plane the other day was nice. And then, a lot of these bullpen guys are really young. They're just kind of trying to ask a little bit of questions what have you seen? What did you see against San Francisco when we played them a couple of weeks ago? A lot of the hitters are saying, hey, you just had a meeting against us. What did you, what were you looking for here? What was the Mariners game plan against our offense? That sort of thing, which has been great. They just jumped right into hey, we want to get better here. What do you have for me? And I really appreciate that. And I think we're going to have to look at the schedule, try and get, a little bit of a team dinner going, so then I can try and get to know somebody not on a baseball level, and try and get to know them a little bit better. So hopefully we'll make something like that happen soon.
I like that part though. Jonesy, did you ever have that, or Cain, where when you joined your new teams, that's smart for a hitter to come up to you and be like, yo, what's the game plan on me? Give me a fresh game plan on me, right? Because this is a team that you were just a part of. This isn't somebody that's a teammate telling me, oh, a few years ago it was this, because books change every 5 seconds, right?
Oh, for sure. Oh, man, you got to ask questions. Anybody I traded over, I'm like, hey, what do y'all think about me? What's going on? Other guys would tell me, you swing really hard. You did this. And I'm like, it's information shared. Once you're on my team now, hey, it's about winning. It's not we battle against each other, but now, hey, I hated you yesterday. I love you right now. So let's go.
Agreed. I knew what my weaknesses were. So, 2-seam slider. I was most likely walking back to the dugout. So he doesn't tell me much. But yeah, it's always fun to get a new perspective from another team and see what they're actually thinking and how they feel about you as a player when you're in the box. So it's always a lot of fun, hearing new info on yourself.
And seriously, I was there maybe 30 seconds, and Strami took me over to the video room and was like, so now that we have Jace Peterson, he said, this is what we had against you in Oakland, so we're going to try and fix it. So, I was there literally 5 minutes, and they already had something on me from a new teammate that I didn't have, 24 hours ago. So Jace did the same thing for me, and I really appreciated it. That I was like, all right, let's knock this thing out and get this thing fixed real quick.
Dude, that's really cool. And I know you probably don't want to divulge completely, but you're not talking about tipping. You're talking about pitch mix or just a strategy on how to get to you.
Literally a tip. They had a tip in Oakland on me, and he's like, yeah, we just figured it out, and we hadn't played you. We faced you a couple times and had it, and then we're holding on to it, obviously, and now we're teammates. And he's like, "Hey, we got to get this fixed like right away." Pulled up the video. You could see it in my outing in Arizona. They didn't have it against me when I faced Arizona, but you could see on the video in my most recent outing, like, "Hey, this is what you have." So hopefully we got that fixed, and now we can go to work.
Dude, that is awesome. That is like the perfect team to get traded to.
Thank you, Jace, to my new teammate, Jace. I hadn't even met him, and he had already helped me out.
And also, like, for all of the worlds to collide that way, right? Because, like, Jace needs to end up there. Because I mean, I'm not even saying not everyone's going to share, but also not everyone obviously knew that or is picking up on that. So you've got an Oakland player coming to Arizona, an Arizona player, and then that all comes together. That's cool, dude.
Yeah, it was wild. It was like, all right, I'm glad he's on our team now.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, some fans were saying like, "Oh, he's in Arizona," which is awesome, and they liked your line, like, we're desert people, so you're in the same region, that you grew up in, and you're a big Vegas guy. And some people are like, "Oh, it's so damn hot though in Arizona," but I'm like, "Yo, they have a retractable roof. You're good." So you've been living the life. You go from Seattle to Arizona. You know how it was, even in New York. Not that it rains all the time there, but it is a pain in the ass because I've been most of my life in the New York, New Jersey area. The amount of times that and people make fun of me in like other places, like, you're obsessed with weather. I'm like, I'm obsessed with weather because I never knew if we were playing the baseball game on time. To not have to deal with that, I've consistently said it is one of the most underrated parts of the sport because you're playing every day. The Brewers guys always talk about it. We never have to worry about if we're playing or not. I think it's huge. So now from your experience going to one spot to the other and being a part of New York in the past, how clutch and helpful is it?
No, people don't understand the stresses of like, okay, it's a getaway day and rain is coming in the forecast. Like, and you just know 3 days ahead of time, like, okay, so Sunday we're going to wait for 4 hours to try and play a game. It's like, it's so frustrating. And so it's like, I just want to know the game starts at 6:40. First pitch is going to be at 6:40, no matter what. And, in New York, you have the NL East, and it's Atlanta, it's Philly, it's DC, it's us. It was like, it felt like once a series we had some sort of rain delay. There's a window. We're going to try and figure it out. And you just get used to just sitting on your phone, playing cards, like watching movies on your iPad, just trying to pass time. Then I go to Seattle, and it's like, no, we play only West Coast teams, and we play only in domes, and like every game is at 6:40, and you kind of get used to that, and then you get traded, and you're like, all right, well, we don't have to worry about that here in the NL West either. It's extremely nice, and now I take it for granted. So hopefully I don't ever have to play anywhere that I have to worry about the weather every single game. But that's just part of going on the road. Then you check the weather. You're exactly right. People have told me this too, that like you're obsessed. It's like, well, am I going to play or am I not going to play? Like, I'm outside. I need to know what is the weather today. Are we going to have a rain delay, or are we going to play this game and get on the road type of thing? So thankful for an indoor stadium, especially in 115 heat right now. That's for sure.
Dude, I'm with you. I mean, like Adam and Lo, I don't think you guys were on for the show we had probably 2 weeks ago at this point with Mookie Betts. But I was like, all right, Mookie, you're commissioner for a day. What's the first thing you're doing? He goes, retractable roofs on all the stadiums. I was like, boom, there you go. I mean, he's in LA. He's got it good, right? Because they don't have to deal with much of a weather issue. But he was in Boston, and he was like, it's a pain in the ass. He's like, I'm trying to get ready to be the best in the sport.
That's a $200, $300 million pain in the ass, though.
It's not our money.
That it's the cities. The owner ain't paying it.
I know the owner ain't paying it, but he should.
It's the cities. Hey, beer sales is up during rain delays. I just sat in one the other night. I don't miss those at all. And it's sure you had the Midwest, Cain, to where you see it coming.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming. That's just part of it. That's why we were talking about Ohtani. It's so enticing for him to stay west. You get to go to San Diego now. You get to go to LA now, San Francisco. You stay on the west. Colorado ain't bad, actually. It's actually not too bad. Ooh, you just moved into a good one.
That's what I'm saying.
But you got 3 teams with taxes.
3 teams with what?
Taxes. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the no state income tax in Seattle with 100 games of no state income tax is not too bad. You got Texas. So we go to Texas. We go to Houston. You get the Tampa one. You get maybe you get Florida. Like, it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice.
Very nice.
We'll deal with it. But yeah, it's San Francisco, San Diego, LA. I was looking at the road trip. I was like, oh man, that's gonna hurt.
That's a chunk coming out.
No, that's good because Paul, yesterday we talked a lot about like Scherzer and Verlander, and Adam's been on the last few days. And some people were like, it's a good point because it's like, yeah, Max and JV go from the Mets who decided not to contend to Houston and to Arlington. By the way, they're being paid very handsomely. Those tax checks change dramatically for them now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into the numbers. It astonish people that are watching right now how much they're saving in taxes. Like years worth of salaries for most of the people watching just in saved taxes for the next 2 months. So I know those guys are going to be excited when they see the paychecks.
Hell yeah. All right, so
I know their bank accounts are a lot bigger, but their paychecks are a lot bigger too. So they're going to be excited.
Hey, they're competitive guys. It still matters. It still counts.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the number one thing that you'll miss the most, not teammate or on the field wise, about Seattle or being there, or something that was part of your routine that you have to switch up now?
Man, I'm going to miss a lot of things. First and foremost, I'll miss my family. I had an aunt and uncle, and my grandparents lived there for the summer. So like, you know, we're beyond thankful for everything they did for us the last 3 years, especially when we had our daughter trying to help us out. So family, obviously number one. I think low key, like the drive in through Lake Washington, and then you just drive up right into the stadium was just like the most gorgeous drive of all time. Once the rain went away for the summer, and it's like Mount Rainier, it's 75 degrees, Lake Washington, like the drive in, he just puts you in a really good mood before you head to the field. I'm gonna miss that drive. It's not too bad. And you know, I love the desert. I'm a desert guy, but there's nothing special about driving to Chase Field downtown. So that nice, pleasant drive every day to and from the field was pretty nice.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, as a closer, I've seen the work that this lady does for relievers and for everybody. Junko. I don't know if you met her yet.
I haven't.
Make sure you know her very, very well.
Okay.
She is the massage therapist, one of them, and she will
game changer.
Anything. Game changer. And again, I know how you walk out late with your water bottle and your glove. You know, you walk. You know what I mean? She will make sure that walk is comfortable. But actually, no, Arizona, you go to the backside. So yeah, but she'll make sure that walk is comfortable. She was a game changer for me while I was there. All the trainers are great, but she was able to work with me one-on-one. So it was awesome. She's a game changer.
Okay, taking notes. I'm gonna go see her first thing on Tuesday when we get back.
I've got one more for you, Paul, from the fans, and it's a great point. So Travis pointed this out. What's the deal with Paul's charity? How does that change with the trade? We've talked about that and brought that up. So how does that work? Obviously with a charity, you just want to do the best you can on that front and help Seattle, and then you got the strikeouts tied to it. So what's the deal?
So we're still trying to figure the situation out, but what we'd like to do is just to continue giving money to KidVantage there in Seattle. With everything that Seattle gave me, I'm not trying to abandon anybody there. KidVantage has been great. They've been very supportive. Everyone in the Seattle, communications area has been helpful, trying to market this to everybody. And I am so thankful for everybody who cheered on the Mariners. And hopefully they don't mind still participating in Seal Strikeouts for Kids, even if I'm not striking people out for the Mariners. But Molly and I are still going to give $400 for every single strikeout we have the rest of the season to KidVantage and the kids up in Seattle. And if anybody has a problem with that, we can obviously talk about it, but we would like to just continue giving the money back to the Seattle community. We're so thankful for everything they gave us. And, just because I moved teams this year doesn't mean I'm not thankful for everything they gave me. So we're still going to donate money to them. And hopefully everyone is still encouraged, even if I'm not playing for the Mariners, that if they participated in $1 per strikeout or whatever it's going to be, that, they know that the greater good is for kids in their area. So, Seal Strikeouts for Kids is still going to go. Now I have to talk to Arizona fans and try and get them on board, even if it's going to kids in a different neighborhood.
No, I love that, dude. If anybody has an issue with that, please, they can see me, Cain, and AJ, okay? Like, there's no way someone would have a problem with that. Also, not that it really makes that much of a difference, but, like, you're not in the division. I don't even know. Do you guys even play each other the rest of the year, the Mariners and D-backs?
No, we literally faced them last weekend, so not going to face them this week. We can only help each other out in the wild card races at this point. So hopefully fans will be fine with me pitching for another team and still donating money. So the point is for the kids. So that was the whole point the whole time, and hopefully fans realize it.
100%. Fans, hey, some fans might miss the boat on trades and signings and things. This one, I think we can all root in the right direction for. So,
Yes.
Paul, that's awesome, man. Cool to get the update there. And hey, congrats on the trade. And
Appreciate
good luck in this little race you got going on now in the National League wild card. And we'll catch you again in a few weeks.
Awesome. Love being on, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too,
Kevin.
Paul. Thank you. Paul
See you guys.
Sewald of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Paul's one of our regulars on the show here. He pops on and has been awesome to talk to. So I got to say, like I always say at the beginning and the end, like where they're coming from, and felt weird just now. I'm like Paul Sewald of the Diamondbacks, but I like it.
Yes.
It's a great trade.
Man.
Dude, it was a great trade.
Great trade. I mean, Diamondbacks got a chance. I mean, and they haven't had a chance in a few years. So they shore up the bullpen. They got some good starters. Shore up the back in that bullpen.
2 years, 2 runs with Paul Sewald too. This is not a rental. They've got him.
Yeah.
He's got 1 more year of team control too. So props to them. All right, so let's preview tonight's games. Last minute game time. We got a full Friday, just a 1-day game. Everything else going down in the evening. So hit that Game Time app. We'll talk about it a little more in a moment, but it's all about getting last minute tickets to a contest. So check out the schedule. And if I'm giving you tickets, we're opening up. It's on me. All right. I'll buy us today. Jonesy, we're going on Game Time. I'm looking for a flash deal. Where would you like to be taken to watch a game this evening?
Ooh, tonight I'm going back home to San Diego. But it's 2 places I need to be today, though. I want to go home to San Diego because the Dodgers and Padres, that's a big series for the Padres. Obviously, the Dodgers are who they are. They are who we thought they are.
Yes.
But also, where my current body will be tonight is in Baltimore. Buck Showalter returns with the Mets for the first time. Obviously, the Mets are in a different situation than the Orioles. When he left the Orioles, it was kind of like the situation he's had with the Mets. So it's going to be good to see him back at the yard, packed house, hopefully, to give him some respect, and then stomp a mud hole in him.
Yeah, I mean they're a big underdog now. The Mets traded away their big boys, and they just got beaten up by KC. They're going to be a big underdog. They're going to start to turn into the team playing, with house money because they're not expected to do anything the rest of the year. So also not super fun to play against. I mean, their pitching's not great, but they still got some dudes that can mash. All right, Lo, where are you going?
Well, you know what? Since I don't like flying, Scott, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to just go right here to Texas, and watch Miami and Texas play. And also, the Brew Crew comes down here at the end of, I want to say in maybe 2 weeks. So I'll definitely have to check them out and see all the fellas when they come in town.
There you go. And for Texas, this is the Rangers debut for Jordan Montgomery, who comes over as now he's like, the second fiddle in that trade for starters because they got Scherzer. And we watched Scherzer yesterday, he had the swing and miss stuff also. I know they got to him a little bit in the first inning, but Rangers fans were pretty pleased with his debut performance. Now you get to see Jordan Montgomery, who's such a different pitcher than most dudes in the league these days, big ground ball guy. So we'll see how he does against Miami. I'll throw one more in there. I still am keeping my eyes on Alek Manoah and James Paxton to an extent. He was talked about if the Red Sox were selling as one of their big trade pieces, and I think they would have gotten a lot for him. They decide to keep him. And so I think both of those guys have been through a lot on the short term for Manoah because he hasn't been good this year and he got sent down for a while and now he's back. And I just think even if he's not what he was last year, which was a Cy Young candidate, if he can give them middle of the rotation type innings, I think he really keeps them in the mix for one of those top wild card spots for Toronto and can help them make a little run here. I do think they're a really dangerous team. Like Whit said, you don't want to face them in the playoffs, but let's see if Manoah is going to look like himself, from the last couple of years. And then Paxton, for me, if he can stay on the field, he's always nasty. He's still nasty. It's crazy. It's like I hadn't seen the dude in years. Then he pops up and he's probably stuff-wise the best pitcher on Boston right now. Well, Bayo, I guess, the new dude, but he's close. He's up there. So check that one out. And also, if you're new to the party with Game Time, you can download the app and make sure you hit the code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. We'll guide you through the app right now. Super easy to find and buy tickets for any kind of event that's in your area. You can look at it from a geolocation, and then you've got the lowest price guarantee, which means with the Game Time guarantee, you're always going to get the lowest price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time's like, all good. We'll credit you 110% of the difference because it's not happening. Event cancellation protection, everything for the people, which is what we always say on FT Live. Job loss protection too, which is super cool. There's no way anyone else has something like that going on right now, where if you do lose your job, you show proof of unemployment, they will make sure you get your money back there, so you're not going through any hard times. But if you do want to hit a game, you can view your seat within the app. You just move the phone over to see what your view looks like, and you can snag the tickets without the stress. If you download the app, create an account, and use the code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's FT Live if you redeem the code for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Love it. All right, let's finish strong here with a little slap hands action before we hit the weekend. We'll let you know who we're talking to next week and go over some of the other Foul Territory shows we got coming up. But let's slap.
Ball.
I love how there's always an AJ on this show who says ball when slap hands runs. So we might have to redo that at some point. Happy birthday to former FT guest Roger Clemens. You can also hear his Legends Territory show if you go a few episodes back. Monday, another dude coming off a trade. I love these combos, I'm telling you, because to be able to get like 20-ish good minutes with a guy that just got traded. That story about Sewald, he comes over, they're like, dude, you're tipping. They might have changed his life. Like, he might have gotten beaten up. Word gets around, right, at some point that he's tipping. Other teams find out, and he goes through a rough 2-week stretch. You know, if a reliever goes through a rough 2-week stretch, it blows up your ERA. He gets to go over to a spot, and they get to fix that problem right away. Like, that's going to help the dude get paid, too, when he's a free agent in a year and a half from now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Got a question. Why nobody went in on Brenton Rooker? Was they asking too much? It was a big bat. I know he's young. I mean, in terms of service time, but he's had a hell of a first half and he can hit. Why nobody went in on him?
That's a great question. Yeah. You know, one team that we got a lot of questions. We have a lot of A's fans that listen to this show or watch this show, and they were like, who are the A's trading, right? And they did trade Fuji to the Orioles earlier. They
salary dumped whatever salary they did have.
Yes.
But I mean, you got Noda, who's basically another version of Olsen. So I mean, I think they got a good system. It's just as soon as the second, not like even Tampa lets them get to arbitration. Oakland, it's like the second they make $1, we got to get rid of them.
Exactly. My only thing, you're right. My only thing that I can think of is there's a ton of service time left for Rooker. And at some point, they went from saying, sure, let's deal him to, wait, this dude's legit. Like, he started off super strong, numbers dipped a little, and then he's picked it back up again. He's got an OPS above 800. His OPS plus with league average at 100 is 128. So it is a good question. I agree. And some A's fans were like, really? We couldn't even pull off like any more significant trades? And I'm like, maybe Brent Rooker is
Milwaukee's a good place.
Good. I agree, but maybe they didn't want to deal him because he's good, and they want to have somebody that can swing the bat. That's my only guess, because he's not a rental. He's not a free agent. I think free agent year 2028. He's under team control for a long time.
They've traded people that were good before. Let's be honest with you.
Oh, and that were young and controllable, right? Like
exactly.
Sean Murphy had years left.
It's okay.
You're right. Okay. Well, it's a great question. You bring it up because Brent Rooker's coming on the show on Tuesday, so we'll ask him. Are you surprised to still be here? Yeah, you're right. Because he's been great, and you know, A's have been through a lot, and he's been like really kind of the face of the underdog A's when they had that little run for like a week and a half. So anyway, we'll have Rooker on Tuesday. Lance Lynn on Monday, who always brings it. Can't wait. And also, if you're looking out for the Brew Crew Territory shows, that'll release this weekend. If you missed any of the Legends Territory, we got all kinds of shows coming your way through the FT fam. So this was fun. This was fun, dudes.
Yeah, real
good. It was.
Good times.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
go eat your candied popcorn there.
All right, I'm all over it. Start with the Fruity Pebbles.
Yes. Thank you, FT fam. And also shout out, I know we get this almost every day too. Like Steven in the chat today. Hey, just found you guys. Can't believe I hadn't seen this. So yeah, if you guys have questions, guys, girls, whatever questions you have, you can always hit us on our Instagram DMs. We'll usually bring those onto the show if it's not while we're live. So Thanks for watching Foul Territory, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. Oh, they want to show us something? What do you got? What do you got, everybody?
Don't throw it back. Keep it.
Oh, wow. Did he grab that ball that low from the wall?
Yeah, it was a great catch. Liriano probably was like, you little mother. I would have been like, cool, I ain't got to throw. Let me save one of these bullets. I guess, hey, it's always positive. You got to look at the positive in things. It was a double, and he ain't got to throw it.
Yep.
Right. He saved his arm.
It's like a line drive out in spring training. You swing, I ain't got to run.
That's actually one more guy. Loriano is, I think, a free agent either this or I think maybe one more year left. But and the dude isn't swinging like he used to, but he's got a cannon. I'm like,
he can play
no
defense.
one wanted
He's
him.
A very good player. That's a good question too. What's going on in Oakland, man?
Well, they have to have some talent for when they make the move to Vegas. You know, have to keep some talent on the ground.
That's true.
Got to fill those tickets. You know,
Paul Sewald might sign with them. He's from Vegas at some point, so.
There you go.
We'll see. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday on FT Live. Later, everybody.